Hello, it's Willie from the Ozarks, and we're ready for our October 9th lesson in A Course in Miracles Workbook for Students. The original edition is what we're reading out of. Lesson 282. I will not be afraid of love today. I will not be afraid of love today. Have you ever thought about them being afraid of love? That, for a lot of people that have not thought about it, that may sound preposterous. Of course I wouldn't be afraid of love. That's ridiculous. What a bunch of psychobabble. But when you realize that love is the choice you get to make between when you perceive another person, you can perceive them as loving or as threatening, as somebody to cause you pain, or someone to cause you joy or bring you joy. And this is what we want to learn, that we always want to see love, always. We don't want to be afraid of seeing that quality in our brothers and our sisters and ourselves and God. All right, so I will not be afraid of love today. If I could realize but this today, salvation would be reached for all the world. Wow, if you could realize this today, salvation would be reached for all the world. This the decision not to be insane and to accept myself as God Himself, my Father and my Source, created me. This the determination not to be asleep in dreams of death, while truth remains forever living in the joy of life. And this the choice to recognize the self whom God created as the Son He loves, and who remains my one reality. And the prayer says, Father, your name is love, and so is mine. Such is the truth. And can the truth be changed by merely giving it another name? The name of fear is simply a mistake. Let me not be afraid of truth today. Let me not be afraid of truth today. I will not be afraid of love today. He associates love and truth as together, one. So keep that in mind, that love, truth, peace, joy, they're all your inheritance. And you can deny them by accepting a perception of fear. But that doesn't make it real, and it doesn't really change what truly is, but it does change your experience in this world. You'll be sleeping a dream of, he calls it the dream of death. All right, okay, let's take a look at our text reading. We're ready for, where are we at? Healing and the Changelessness of Mind in chapter 7, verse 39. We're ready for that new section. Healing and the Changelessness of Mind. And before we read it, I'm sitting here in my garden under some asparagus plants that I have growing. And this asparagus I planted it a couple years ago, so it hadn't made the little red berries it usually makes in the fall, which are not really, I don't know anybody that eats them, but it did something very unique, and that's why I wanted to sit out here and show it to you. Normally, asparagus only makes its asparagus in the early spring, and then it grows up into these, and all through the summer it's gathering nutrients, storing them in the roots, and in the spring it shoots up these the sprouts, the starts, and these are what people eat. There's a little small one. Here's a nice big one ready. But this one here made them here in the fall, which I don't understand that, but I like them just the way they are. And matter of fact, that one there would be, it's probably not going to get any bigger in circumference. And what you normally do is cut them off even with the ground. But I just want to show you, I like them just like that. So a lot of people like them cooked. Okay, anyway, I just wanted to talk to you a little bit, just a minute, about this asparagus. Asparagus officinalis, healthline.com says, low in calories and great source of nutrients including fiber, folate, vitamin A, C, and K. Also said it helps in weight loss, improved digestion, healthy pregnancy, and lower blood pressure. So there's some things that Asparagus officinalis is the species. The genus is asparagus. Anyway, when you plant these, plant them really deep in the ground and then put a little soil on them, let them get started. And when they get up a little bit, put some more soil so that the root is way down deep in the ground. Give them, the first year or two, don't eat anything. Leave it a patch. You don't have to mess with these. You don't have to, you'll want to fertilize them, but you don't have to plow them up or till them up or anything. Just let them grow. Keep them weeded. I have mine growing. Got some a little grapevine growing here beside it. But anyway, after a couple, 3 years, you can start harvesting them, and they'll be nice and big like this one. I'll probably go ahead and harvest that one, even though it's fall. I want to do a little more research about how come it sprouted in the fall, because usually that's only spring. It's the first time I've ever seen one sprout in the fall. But that tells me that maybe there'd be a way to get 2 crops a year out of them with a little bit of manipulating. I put a lot of fertilizer on these, compost early in the spring, and maybe that's what did it. I'm not real sure. All right. Let's go on. Healing and the changelessness of mind. The body is nothing more than a framework for developing abilities. It is therefore a means for developing potentials, which is quite apart from what the potential is used for. That is a decision. The effects of the ego's decision in this matter are so apparent that they need no elaboration here. But the Holy Spirit's decision to use the body only for communication has such a direct connection with healing that it does need clarification. The unhealed healer obviously does not understand his own vocation. But he's going to talk about the unhealed healer can still do miracles. And he's going to explain why and how. This is going to be pretty cool. You're going to like this. We're just going to read this one page today, but this is like a 3-page section, and we'll be on it for 2 or 3 days, probably 3. But you're going to learn how a unhealed healer can still do miracles. Only minds communicate, paragraph 40. Only minds communicate, since the ego cannot obliterate the impulse to communicate, because it is also the impulse to create. The ego can only teach you that the body can both communicate and create, and therefore does not need the mind. The ego thus tries to teach you that the body can act like the mind and is therefore self-sufficient. Yet we have learned that behavior is not the level for either teaching or learning. This must be so, since you can act in accordance with what you do not believe. To do this, however, will weaken you as teachers and learners, because, as has been repeatedly emphasized, you teach what you do believe. An inconsistent lesson will be poorly taught and poorly learned. If you teach both sickness and healing, you are both a poor teacher and a poor learner. Paragraph 41. Healing is the one ability which everyone can develop. Healing is the one ability which everyone can develop and must develop if he is to be healed. Wow. We must develop it if we're to be healed. Even though we talk a lot about how let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food, remember, these are just more like Band-Aids in the physical world to help relieve pain or relieve fear. The real healing is in the mind. Don't ever let that escape your notice. All us people that are totally into all kinds of health foods, we can get really wrapped up in that the healing comes from what we eat and what we do and how we sleep and how we exercise and how we breathe and how we meditate or how we lots of different things that we think could bring us healing. But remember, the real healing is of the mind. We need those miracles. We need to be not afraid of love today. That's what brings the real healing, when that becomes the complete realization in our being, and the whole world is saved with us. Okay, paragraph 41. Healing is the one ability which everyone can develop and must develop if he is to be healed. Healing is the Holy Spirit's form of communication and the only one he knows. He recognizes no other because he does not accept the ego's confusion of mind and body. Minds can communicate, but they cannot hurt. That's an interesting idea. We're learning a lot about mind and the way it works, aren't we? But he says that minds can communicate, but they cannot hurt. The body in the service of the ego can hurt other bodies, but this cannot occur unless the body has already been confused with the mind. This fact, too, can be used either for healing or for magic, but you must remember that magic is always the belief that healing is harmful. Okay, there's another definition of one of the Course's definitions of magic, is that it has it said healing. It can be used for healing or magic, but you must remember that magic is always the belief that healing is harmful. This is its totally insane premise, and so it proceeds accordingly. 42. Healing only strengthens. Magic always tries to weaken. Remember, because magic in the Course's definition is the insane premise that says that it's the belief that healing is harmful. Healing only strengthens. Magic tries to weaken. Healing perceives nothing in the healer that everyone else does not share with him. Healing perceives nothing in the healer that everyone else does not share with him. Magic always sees something special in the healer, which he believes he can offer as a gift to someone who does not have it. He may believe that the gift comes from God to him, but it is quite evident that he does not understand God if he thinks he has something that others do not. Did you catch that? Our equality, he's really emphasizing this, is we must see this to be healed healers instead of unhealed healers. We've got to see that we're equal with the whole sonship, and that what we have, we may have developed some abilities in time, but time is an illusion, and that your brothers and sisters that are seeking the same healing have the same ability. They may have not developed it, but that doesn't make them any different, because in reality, the journey's already over. It's a journey without distance. They're already complete and whole. We just want to help wake them up and help them relieve themselves of pain. This is how the Course tells us to move forward in our perception of each other, recognizing our universal equality. Not that one of us is better than another, or one of us is special, or more to be respected, or more important, or has more of the gifts of God than another. It is not true. Okay? He may believe that the gift comes from God to him, but it is quite evident that he does not understand God if he thinks he has something that others do not. You might well ask then why some healing can result from this kind of thinking. There is a reason for this. Okay, there is a reason for this. And now, 43. However misguided the magical healer may be, he is also trying to help. He's also trying to help, no matter how misguided that the unhealed healer, or he calls him the magic healer, may be. He's also trying to help. He is conflicted and unstable, but at times he is offering something to the sonship. And the only thing the sonship can accept is healing. When the so-called healing works, then the impulse to help and to be helped have coincided. Isn't that nice? They've come together. This is coincidental, because the healer may not be experiencing himself as truly helpful at the time, but the belief that he is in the mind of another helps him. Let's read that last two sentences one more time. That's how come that a unhealed healer, or as he calls here, a magical healer, can actually affect a healing, because he has a desire to help. And this is all important. However misguided the magical healer may be, he's also trying to help. He is conflicted and unstable, but at times he's offering something to the sonship, and the only thing the sonship can accept is healing. When the so-called healing works, then the impulse to help and to be helped have coincided. This is coincidental because the healer may not be experiencing himself as truly helpful at the time, but the belief that he is in the mind of another helps him. The Holy Spirit does not work by chance, and healing that is of him always works. Unless the healer always heals by him, the results will vary. Yet healing itself is consistent, since only consistence is conflict-free, and only the conflict-free are whole. By accepting exceptions and acknowledging that he can sometimes heal and sometimes not, the healer is obviously accepting inconsistency. He is therefore in conflict and teaching conflict. Can anything of God not be for all and for all? To be all and for all, if it's for God. Can anything of God not be for all and for always? I think we'll stop there, and we'll be ready to pick that up tomorrow. And let's go back and take a look at our What is the Holy Spirit under Lesson 282. I will not be afraid of love today. What is the Holy Spirit? The Holy Spirit mediates between illusions and the truth. As he must bridge the gap between reality and dreams, perception leads to knowledge through the grace that God has given him, to be his gift to everyone who turns to him for truth. Across the bridge. Well, we want to cross the bridge, don't we? Across the bridge that he provides, the Holy Spirit provides a bridge from this world to the eternal world, to heaven. Across the bridge that he provides are dreams all carried to the truth, to be dispelled before the light of knowledge. There are sights and sounds forever laid aside, and where they were perceived before, forgiveness has made possible perception's tranquil end. The goal the Holy Spirit's teaching sets is just this end of dreams. For sights and sounds must be translated from the witnesses to fear to those of love. And when this is entirely accomplished, learning has achieved the only goal it has in truth. Let's read that again. For sights and sounds must be translated from the witnesses of fear to those of love. This is what our lesson today is all about. I will not be afraid of love today. For sights and sounds must be translated from the witnesses of fear to those of love. And when this is entirely accomplished, learning has achieved the only goal it has in truth. For learning, as the Holy Spirit guides it to the outcome he perceives for it, becomes the means to go beyond itself, to be replaced by the eternal truth. That's what we want, isn't it, across that bridge? If you but knew how much your Father yearns to have you recognize your sinlessness, you would not let his voice appeal in vain, nor turn away from his replacement for the fearful images and dreams you made. The Holy Spirit understands the means you made, by which you would attain what is forever unattainable. And if you offer them to him, he will employ the means you made for exile to restore your mind to where it truly is at home. From knowledge, where he has been placed by God, the Holy Spirit calls to you to let forgiveness rest upon your dreams and be restored to sanity and peace of mind. Without forgiveness will your dreams remain to terrify you, and the memory of all your Father's love will not return to signify the end of dreams has come. Accept your Father's gift. It is a call from love to love, that it be but itself. The Holy Spirit is his gift by which the quietness of heaven is restored to God's beloved Son. Would you refuse to take the function of completing God when all he wills is that you be complete? I will not be afraid of love today. Lesson 282, one more time. If I could realize but this today, salvation would be reached for all the world. In other words, if you could realize that I will not be afraid of love today and actually do it, not only would you be healed, but the whole world would be healed with you. Oh, what power a son of God has, or a daughter of God. If I could realize but this today, salvation would be reached for all the world. This is the decision not to be insane and to accept myself as God himself, my Father and my source, created me. This the determination not to be asleep in dreams of death, while truth remains forever living in the joy of life. And this the choice to recognize the self whom God created as the Son he loves, and who remains my one reality. And the prayer says, Father, your name is love, and so is mine. Father, your name is love, and so is mine. Hey, you want to know God's name? There it is. Father, your name is love, and so is mine. You want to know your name? You're of the love family. That's our Father's name, is love. Father, your name is love, and so is mine. I like what Buckminster Fuller says about love. He says it's a verb and not a noun. It's an action. It's to do something, but it's in mind where it all is done. And then the manifestation in this world is because the mind is abiding in love. Father, your name is love, and so is mine. Such is the truth. And can the truth be changed by merely giving it another name? The name of fear is simply a mistake. Let me not be afraid of truth today. Your name is not fear. Your name is love. Let me not be afraid of truth today. Let me not be afraid of love today. I will not be afraid of love today. I will not be afraid of love today.